guys, this is the Fat Panda, and I am here with the Week 3 power rankings for the WPF Gyarados League. The 3 weeks of battling have gone quite well so far. People are starting to settle in. I don't have a lot more to say in that. It was a light trade week, so there won't be a lot to go over there. Should be a fairly short video, to be honest, but that's alright. Those are just as good as long videos, too. Hopping straight into it, we have the number 1 Sacramento Kingler, who are holding firm to the number 1 slot. They actually did not play last week. Their opponent, unfortunately, was unable to battle, so they are waiting until week 4 to get the battle done. But I'm going to keep them here at number 1 because the team is still really good and the play was very good. So we'll just hang out tight at the number 1 slot for now. Number 2, we have the West Texas Weaviles holding tight to the number 2 slot as well. Played quite well in their battle against Rochester Raboot in week 3. GMX Gengar was an absolute force of destruction, equipped with the Sash 2, which ended up mattering because it was able to survive a Sucker Punch from Urshifu and kill it back with Dazzling Gleam, which is probably something they were not expecting to do. So good play on the GMX Gengar. No real other interesting notes from their battle. There was a pretty long, like 20-30 turn PP war that went on, so I kind of fell asleep at that point, and at the end West Texas had won, but all that cool Gengar stuff happened earlier, so good for them. At number 3, recovering from a unfortunate loss in week 2, the Madison Machamps rally off a victory in their last divisional match for now against Warsaw Rapidash. It was the debut of the double Cofagrigus combo wombo, and while Cofagrigus gets the week MVP because it got 6 kills, I think a good chunk of that the MVP earnings there should go straight to Double, who managed to pass it plus 6 defense and really get the ball rolling. There was no sign of any crazy potential hacks that might have happened at all. It was over basically the moment Cofagrigus hit the field. Yep, that's what I'm sticking with. After the battle, Madison made a coach trade with the ASU Marills, trading her their Volcarona for Dracovish, actually bringing in some intense water power to complement Barraskewda and Pelipper. If you don't have a water absorb Mon or something like that, you are going to get absolutely blown back by Dracovish against this team. I did a calc for the week 4 match, and my opponent has Flapple, and Banded Urshifu or Banded Dracovish in the rain actually has like a significant chance, I believe, or 100% chance to Oko Flapple with Banded Fish's Friend. So, I mean, there's just absolutely no, and that's a quad resist, so there's just no real stopping it. Volcarona was good, but it just wasn't making the impact that Dracovish will probably have for the Machamps. At number 4, rising up a few more ranks, are the Minnesota Lycanrocs, who brought Calm Mind Clefable and managed to just destroy the opponent with it. It was kind of a weird match to watch. The Clefable should have died several different times, but the opponent just refused to actually attack it, and eventually it was able to either leave or heal or do whatever it needed to do and just kind of keep living through the entire match. So good job keeping the Clefable alive somehow and earning the second victory for you this season. At number 5, and the victim of Clefable this week was the Vegas Golden Magnemites, who got their first loss of the season. There were a lot of weird things that happened, but I mean, from the beginning, it was a bad note when Drapion managed to die to Clefable after getting crit with a Moonblast. If that hadn't happened, the match would have probably turned out very different, but even then, when Clefable was stuck at 20%, there were like 3 or 4 times where Clefable would have just died if it had been attacked, but Vegas continued to not attack it, and eventually everything it could handle it was gone, and It was just really weird to watch. I'm not exactly sure. I guess that he was probably just panicking really badly, and that's all there really was to it, I assume, because it was just watching an absolute meltdown, unfortunately. At number 6, we have the Melbourne Lucarios, who took on the ASU Marills last week and won. Iron Defense Corviknight was a significant factor, although there was one period of time where it was paralyzed like 5 turns in a row and eventually had to swap out, which was kind of interesting to watch. But it turns out that substitute Nasty Plot Salazzle is actually really, really good when your opponent has a Blissey and that Blissey has no attacking moves, and they keep it in repeatedly on the Salazzle. Well, I mean, at that point it was over anyway. But yeah, good Corviknight to break the team, good Salazzle to kind of just finish it all off. Worked out well. At number 7, we have the Warsaw Rapidash, who received their first loss of the season, getting a good surprise KO right off the bat with a banded Mimikyu set, which is certainly a oddity as far as Mimikyu sets go. But unfortunately, after that, promptly got blown apart by Cotton Guard Dubwool baton passing to Cofagrigus, and just had no real way to answer that at all. It was just a sight to see. At number 8, we have the Half Moon Hydreigon, who continue their rise despite my misgivings about their team. Haven't lost yet, and so that's got to say something, I guess, at least. In this match, a whole lot of nothing happened. Then Trick Room was set up. Somehow Weezing was outspeeding Hatterini in Trick Room. And then G-Max Toxtricity came in and did a lot of damage, and the match was essentially over. That's all I can really remember from that match. I don't think Toxtricity ended up cleaning the entire team. I think it broke like 3 or 4 things, and then I think Hydreigon or someone got the last couple kills. But it was just kind of like there was a whole lot of nothing happened, and then everything happened in like 6 turns. It was very weird. At number 9, the team that was just beat down by the G-Max Toxtricity and Hydreigon are the Alanta Beedrilles. G-Max Venusaur just wasn't quite able to cut it this week, unfortunately for him, and nothing really else to be said about that. I still can't get over how Hatterini was somehow EV'd to be faster than Weezing. That takes a lot of speed, where Weezing was like relaxed or both. I don't know. It was still really weird. It's like base 29 or something against like base 60. I don't even begin to know how that happened. I'm gonna have to rewatch that because it's just whack to me. I saw that the Weezing was like sludge bombing, and then Hatterini moved, and I don't know. It was Trick Room was up. It was weird. I don't know. I'm gonna have to rewatch it because it was a weird match. Number 10, the Rochester Raboot have unfortunately dropped 2 in a row now this week against G-Max Gengar of the West Texas Weaviles. Just kind of fell apart after I think that Sash popped on Gengar, because just losing your Urshifu like that for essentially like out of nowhere is gotta absolutely suck in the middle of battle. Other than that, I'm not exactly sure why Pincurchin came and didn't have Rising Voltage. It had Discharge instead. Seemed a little weird. I know Rising Voltage doesn't get the bonus damage against flying targets, but when you're going against things like Toxapex and this stuff, I think you should probably at least bring the most damaging move you can. Number 11, the Boston Red Sox got their first victory of the season this week off the back of a really, really fat G-Max Sandaconda, taking out several Mons with a coil set. I believe it took out, well, several things. I know there was a Togetic that got flinched to death, and then Toxtricity wasn't able to revenge it and died, and then just Starmie cleaned up once the sand was gone, taking out Gigalith and Excadrill with a surprisingly risky Meteor Beam. No reason to actually click that at the point where he clicked it on a low health Gigalith with only Excadrill in the back. That was just setting up for a loss there, but managed to get the 90% hit, which was very lucky for Boston. And swept from there with the Starmie. ASU Marills have now dropped 3 matches in a row with what was considered one of the potentially scariest teams of the draft. Something is not clicking, and trying to make a change, she has decided to trade away Dracovish for Volcarona, kind of balancing the team out a little bit more, trying to get rid of a little of the overwhelming physical offense that they have, picking up a special attacker that's certainly strong, as well as essentially their only real good setup mon that they've drafted. Rabambi and Barbaracle and Togekiss can all set up, but they all have much larger flaws than Volcarona does, that's for sure. So a trade that kind of makes the team a little bit more balanced. It's not so much suicidal offense anymore. So I think that'll certainly help the ASU Marills there. Things that won't help the ASU Marills is staying in on a paralyzed Corviknight that's got +4 defense, and you have a Melmetal on the field, and you're just constantly double iron bashing it until you run out of double iron bash PP, and then you struggle to death, despite having a Rabambi sack in the back. I still have no idea what went through their mind when they decided that was the right course of play. But misplays aside, I think the trade is a good one. People are going to see that they lost Dracovish and they only gained a Volcarona, but I think the team is better, despite Dracovish being somewhat objectively better of a Pokemon than Volcarona. I think the team looks better, but I might also be biased. At number 13, we have the Bolton Boldores, who lost this week to the Boston Red Sox. That's who they lost to. Looks like this team might be going the win-loss-win or the loss-win-loss-win route, ending up 6-6 maybe this season. The team is certainly good, or at least maybe not good, but I still wish they'd get rid of at least one of the weathers. It's so weird to look at the team, but the team has been played well so far. Just a couple of miscalculations in the Boston Red Sox game that could have potentially been salvaged, and the whole match might have turned out a little bit differently. We'll never know now because the calculations weren't done and the one flinch happened, and that's really all you can say about that. At number 14, we have the South Beach Shaymin, who I believe got their first win. Yes, they got the first win of the season this week against the Gladiators. This time on the back of G-Max Flapple, which certainly made a very impressive statement this week, setting up with Max Airstream and then just bopping Mon after Mon with G-Max Grav Apple. I can't remember what the actual G-Max move is, but that's, I assume, the attack that they had that they were G-Maxing. Just one shot after one shot. Dual Wing Beat has been really good for G-Max Flapple because now it doesn't even necessarily have to run Dragon Dance, despite often it will anyway. But now that it can set up its own speed with G-Max Airstream, it can actually do damage right off the bat. Life Orb Hustle is insanely powerful once you've got the G-Max boost because you can't miss. So there's absolutely no risk like you might risk when you're out of G-Max form. And especially since, it's like G-Max Tartness or something. Especially since that move reduces the evasiveness of whatever it hits, it actually makes it so that if anything does actually live your attacks, you aren't going to miss if your G-Max goes away. So that's pretty nice. It was a very nice debut by G-Max Flapple. It's not something you see used a lot, so it's nice to see when it's used well. At number 15, we have the Hexeville Ho-Oh. Did not play this week. They were the other coach, the match that wasn't played. But we'll see the match at week 4, and then I can comment on that along with their next match as well. And then holding up the rear at number 16 are the GWS Galladiators, who lost yet again this week. Just gotten absolutely bopped by G-Max Flapple. There was really nothing they were able to do once it got that plus speed. The entire team was either just a little chipped or weak to grass, essentially. So there was absolutely nothing that he could have done. With what he brought, at least. Yeah. Yep, that's all I got. Absolutely boned by G-Max Flapple. Here I got the recap for you guys with the movements. You can kind of see where the tiers are kind of like laying. Like, you know, you got the top 8 or 9 are the playoff contenders. The bottoms are the guys who are really struggling right now. And they're kind of moving within their own tiers, not really hopping across the border too much right now. Good to see a certain Cofagrigus at the top there with 6 KOs in 1 week. Who knows, maybe it'll have 12 next week. Wouldn't that be pretty damn neat? Well, not 12 KOs in 1 match, but 12 total. That would be cool. I think so, at least, but I know at least one other coach would certainly disagree with me. That's all I got for you guys. Short video this week. It didn't feel like I had a whole lot to talk about. We'll have more matches to talk about next week, especially since there's at least one match that from week 3 that has to be played, and who knows, maybe some guys will feel the urge to trade after 4 weeks. That would be cool. I'd love talking about trades. That's all I got. I will see you guys next week.